Welcome back to the Cryptolabs YouTube channel. We got Colin with us yet again, founder of the Mason token that doesn't actually exist, but we just joke about it.
Not yet.
We're talking about the golden rule of yield farming, of entering liquidity pools, of the golden rule. I think if you follow certain rules, especially when you first get into this game, into anything, you'll be more successful. Now, once you master these rules, can you go outside them a little bit? Can you find some meme coin stuff or some speculative assets? Yes. But I think at first, if you're learning how to paint within the lines, master it, and then you can start painting outside of it. So we don't do anything degen or gambling with anyone until they've mastered the fundamentals. So we're going to talk about the golden rule today. Colin, welcome back to the channel. What you got for us?
Thanks for having me. Lucas, I think this is my 6th time being on the YouTube channel. So I think
You're
Colin Mason, community manager, and YouTuber, I think should be my title now. Yeah, professional YouTuber. Anyways, so a big thing that we talk about is putting in the work prior to entry. Okay, Lucas, what does that mean? What does that mean? So that means establishing through a set of frameworks, a criteria that you can go through on a personal level for you, individually for you, that checks the boxes of what investments you want to make or what positions you'd want to deploy in. Because go poll 10 people in our community and that they're going to have 10 different criteria. They're going to have 10 different things that they look at. But at the fundamental level, there is a criteria that we use and people model their own criteria off of. And I wanted to show you something today, Lucas. And what we call this we call this the golden rule. And I think it really is important here. So I'm going to go into the DeFi earner challenge here. First off, I want to show entry and exit liquidity pool criteria. This is really important because this is the golden rule. The golden rule is number 1, make sure that prior to entry that you are establishing the assets that you want to invest in. Because every liquidity pool position, let's use that as an example, every liquidity pool position is made up of the underlying assets. And so if you're really bullish on ETH and ARB, well, that's definitely going to be an opportunity that you can look at inside of the DeFi opportunities on these different platforms because you like the underlying assets. But one of the questions we get, Lucas, a lot is, well, what if I don't know what assets I like? And especially if you're on the newer side, or maybe you've just heard of Bitcoin, you've just been investing in Bitcoin, and you start hearing things like Render and Neon and Fetch AI and BNB and Solana. Like, how do I even know what are the difference between these assets? And how can I go about doing my own research to understand it? So, Lucas, we've answered that question with another framework inside the DeFi challenge. Do you mind if I show it real quick?
Let's do it. Okay. Sharing all our secrets, I see.
I know. I can't hold back though.
I think information should be free. I'm like, dude, let it rip. Let's give everything away for free. It's the implementation, the community, the support, the guidance, the organization of that information that we have a team of 6-7 people now, and we all work on delivering for members. And so obviously there was a service to deliver, but I think information should be free. So let's let it rip.
Absolutely. Let's dive in. So again, I just want to hark on the golden rule right here is before entering, before you take your capital and deposit it into a DeFi position, don't chase the yield. I'll say it like that. Don't just chase the high returns. Select opportunities with assets that you know, like, and trust, and that you would want to hold long term. So a series of questions we ask here is, would I want to hold these assets long term? Would I be okay getting fully converted into each one of these assets? So that means, just very quickly, if you're an ARB and ETH, and the price of ETH has gone up, but the price of ARB has gone down, well, your ETH will get converted into ARB. That's a story for another day, right? But are you okay with owning both of those assets?
Let me know in the comments if you want clarification on that, because we'd be happy to do a part 2 video to this to talk more about that exact, is how do these assets move? What are the dynamics that happen? It's a little more technical, but we can absolutely cover it. Let me know in the comments if you're interested. Let it rip.
Yeah, no, I'd love to talk about that. And then 3 is there any utility for the token or asset? Like, does it have any use case? Does it have any substance to it? Or is it the Mason token like we joke about in the community? And then number 4 is, does the asset have a strong foundation? And so if you're kind of listening right now and you're like, shoot, I don't really know. Like, I don't really know the answer to any of those questions. That's fine, because we have a framework to help you walk through that. So I'm in the missions here. More secrets. Quest 1. Mission 5 here. This is asset assessment and selection. So Lucas, this is a 7-step framework that we've established here that gives kind of an overview. It's 7 different sectors, or I don't know how else to describe it. 7 different
criteria,
criteria to look at certain assets. Checkboxes, absolutely, that you can ask specific questions. So throughout this lesson, I give you 7 different things and then 2 questions to think about, to answer, if this is something that aligns with you. So like a project understanding, like, do you actually understand what the project is all about? If I'm in Neon or if I'm in Solana, well, what are they trying to achieve? What's this asset trying to do here? So 2 questions to ask is, well, what are they trying to achieve and why? And does the project address any real problem, or does it really have a foundation to succeed, right? And so, if the answer is, oh shoot, I don't actually know, well, great, right? Now we can start the research process. Now we can go into, and I kind of want to show it just for a sec. I'm deviating from the plan I had, Lucas, but I want to show the Bull Run Investor Group here, because I put a lot of time into this. I put a lot of time into, let's go stacks real quick, into these different breakdowns of projects and assets of like, well, let me do that front work for you. Like, let me explain exactly what this project is trying to do. Well, what problem does it solve? I'll tell you exactly what it's trying to do here. And I do this for dozens, and
understanding how the tokenomics work and understanding all of that is important. I think a lot of people invest in stuff and they're not fully understanding what they're investing in. And that makes them very jumpy when markets are going through some volatility and they're just looking at the chart, which I think technical analysis is important to a point, but I'm more fundamental analysis. I'm more, and when markets are shifting, I'm like, did anything fundamentally change? And if the answer is no, I go to sleep at night. I don't care what happens, minus 50%, don't care. I've been through bear markets. I don't care. I'm holding the underlying asset. You should see my portfolio right now. It is up, 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 because I held while no one else saw value. And as an investor, remember, we see value where others don't. That's how you become a great investor. So not to riff on that, Colin, but okay. So number one, project understanding. Do you understand the project? If the answer is no, go research it, understand it, so you know what they're actually doing and problem they're solving. 2, what do you got?
2, market analysis. So this is more on the technical analysis side of things in terms of how has the price of this asset been trending over time. So this is a little bit more technical, and we have a full group. We have a full technical analysis. So yeah, it's a huge thing that we pay attention to here.
You can actually drop in the asset you're looking at, and you will get technical analysis ideas on the asset you're looking at. We're happy to do it. We actually do a TA live on Thursday, where we also review assets live real time, and that's done by Maddie or David, who are our in-house technical analysts.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's number 2, market analysis. Number 3 is team and development. So this is more, what's the roadmap, and then who are the people behind it? That's important too. Do you know who's behind this thing? That's another criteria that we look at. Number 4 is tokenomics and utility. So it kind of goes back to the original framework, the golden rule that we talked about earlier of, is there anything that it's used for? Is there any actual utility behind it? And what's the tokenomics look like?
We might have to do a
inflationary model. Yeah, we could.
If anyone, leave it in the comments if you want to understand tokenomics and like, is there a release? How are they being released? Is there a cap to how many coins or tokens can actually be minted and printed? Is it inflationary? Is it deflationary? Those are all important questions to ask. We could do a part 2 if the YouTube audience is interested in it. Do let me know below.
Absolutely. I'd love to do that. Absolutely. There's a lot that goes into it. And then number 5, risk assessment. So this is again, hey, what could go wrong, right? What could go wrong? Is there any red flags? And this is where it can get really easy, Lucas. And I have conversations about this. It's really easy to say, like, to figure out what's the good things about a project. Like, oh, wow, they're trying to do this and this is so good.
That's good.
Number 5 is what could go wrong, right? What could go wrong? And that's
don't fall in love with it. I'm telling you, no doubt. Fall in love with your investments.
And then number 6 here, long-term viability. And so this is more so like, what's the future of this project? Do they plan to grow? It kind of goes back to the roadmap, but it also goes back to the problem that it's solving, right? Is this a longer term, do they have a long-term vision for what the project is trying to accomplish? So it gets you thinking a little bit more like, is this something that I would want to hold long-term? Or is this something that I kind of just see as a little bit of a moneymaker at this time? The approach that you take upon entry is different if it's a short-term money maker for you versus a long-term hold. So number 6 is really important as well. And then number 7, this is a personal criteria of, does this fit in with what you're trying to do? Does it fit in with your overall investment plan? And so this is one that I think people skip past, and I'm going to really slow down and hark on this for a sec because there's a lot of hype in crypto and DeFi, right? There's a lot of like, oh my God, I'm making 1,000% on this, or oh my goodness, I've doubled my money in 3 days, right? There's a lot of that going around. But number 7 is all about slowing down, and does the actual asset, does the asset and then does the pool in a little bit. But do those actually fit in with what you're trying to do and trying to accomplish? And that's something that um, it's established more with time and with experience. Right? When you're first getting started, it's hard to answer that question. But through a few opportunities and through a few investments, you start to establish, hey, what am I actually trying to do? What kind of an investor am I? What kind of a DeFi portfolio builder am I? And then you can start to build on your strengths. And then, Lucas, most importantly, say no. Say no to a lot of things. I think investors, UIG does it really well, but and I actually love when people say, I'm not getting in that. And this is the reason why I love when people post that. But saying no is hard to do, especially when there's a lot of hype and a lot of noise. So hopefully that was helpful for the YouTube audience today. Yeah.
So good. I think it's helpful for even people who've been doing this a while. I think frameworks are important. I remember having a book, and every time I effed up as an investor, I would write down the lesson, and eventually those become frameworks, much like Ray Dalio's principles. Like that's basically every time he effed up, he created a principle. This is what we don't do anymore. And so we've been creating principles, so to speak, not to steal Ray Dalio, but frameworks for like, if you follow this most of the time, you will be okay. Now, crypto and DeFi is unpredictable, so nothing is ever for sure. But if the more frameworks you follow, the more you can avoid the stupid tax. And a lot of people pay a lot of stupid tax in this game. Like if people actually think, oh man, how much money I've lost making dumb mistakes, you can just avoid that by not making them in the first place. But people are pretty stubborn to learn themselves, and I've been there too. So I get it. But follow these frameworks, and thanks, C. That was super helpful.
Absolutely. Just one last thing. There was a member in the community. I love this. What they did is actually printed out the frameworks and they have it by their desk. And so they can kind of, that's really smart. So they can kind of consult it as they're going. And so they're not.
You gotta write a book, dude.
So that was really smart of just having it all out so that when you're making decisions, you kind of look at the frameworks and look at the principles and move from there.
DeFi Principles by Colin Mace.
Oh, I like that. YouTuber, community manager, and author. I love that. Sign me up.
Author. Write it with ChatGPT. You're now an author. The good old internet. So good. If you watch this and you got some value, give this video a like, subscribe to this channel, hang out for an hour or two. I do get emails from people just on YouTube. I think information should be free, who email me saying, I spent 2-3 hours on your YouTube channel. I got a ton from it, more than I did in courses, and they made a profitable investment. They're making some money. You study this channel, subscribe to it and study it. Stay away from, I can't tell you what to do, from the hypey, fear-mongering, meme coin. You are gambling. There's nothing wrong with that, but know the game you're playing. You're not investing. If you want to be an investor, hang out on this channel, subscribe, soak up these videos. And what I will do is I'll leave some videos up on the 4 corners of your screen. Click on the one that you feel resonates with you the most. I'll be selective on the videos we choose here, but something that continues this conversation. Check it out, study it, take notes, apply it. And with that said, we're going to get out of here. Thanks for hanging out.